Hi, everybody. This is Mark Lane, and welcome into a very special interview. We recorded this earlier today to play back at this time, and we have on the phone Gary Newman. Many of you know Gary personally, but Gary is the son of country music and Cajun music great Jimmy C. Newman. And Gary's on the phone for us to talk about a very special tribute show lined up to take place in Lafayette tonight and tomorrow night. Hi, Gary, and welcome back to KVPI.
Oh, it's so good to be back. Hello, everybody. And one thing I wanted to say is that, every time that Dad would come down here to visit South Louisiana, he always tried to make it a point to go by Ville Platte and visit with relatives and his family. And part of the family he always thought was the KVPI family. He just thought so highly of everyone there and all of her friends and family in Ville Platte and the surrounding area. So that was truly coming home for him, is to be able to go to Ville Platte and visit with everyone over there. He's just really appreciated it and was proud to be from Ville Platte. So am I, and our whole family.
Gary, I have so many fond memories of your. Of course, I could talk for hours about your dad, but that's one of the greatest memory I have. Every Christmas, like clockwork, Gary, for years,
yes.
we would look forward to your dad's visit with us.
Yeah, often I would accompany him, and we
Yes.
always enjoyed going over to visit you and the KVPI family. It was always very nice for us.
Okay, well, Gary, let's talk about the big show tonight. Give us all the details. What's going to be taking place?
Well, we're going to pay tribute to Dad, and we're going to have some special guests from Nashville coming down, Marty Stewart and Doug Kershaw. Unfortunately, Marty told us last night that Connie has a severe case of bronchitis and will not be able to make the show. She was scheduled to be on, but, we didn't want to jeopardize her health or anything like that. Marty said, it takes a whole lot for Connie to cancel a show, but just could not make it. So
Sure.
We're disappointed about that, but we're very, very happy and honored to have Marty and Doug perform with our local artists here, which includes the great Joel Savoy, Kelly Jones Savoy. We'll also have people from the Northwest, Caleb Clowder and Reeb Wilms, who are some young people. When I say young, 30, 40 years old. But anyway, they're part of the younger crowd that has gotten into my dad's early country music right around the time that he recorded Cry, Cry, Darling, Daydreaming, You Didn't Have to Go, the local regional hits that he had here in South Louisiana. And around the time, I'd say the early 50s, right around when he was playing at the Louisiana Hayride, we'll be doing a lot of those songs. And, of course, Doug will be with us, and we'll be doing Louisiana Man and Diggy Diggy Lie. And it's just going to be a good time. And it's in Lafayette. And
where in Lafayette? Because we had a couple of calls this morning, people wanting to know where.
Okay, it's at the Acadiana Center of the Arts in downtown Lafayette. It's kind of on the corner of Jefferson Street and Vermilion Street. It's if you've been to Don's Restaurant in Lafayette, it's about the next block over, north of Don. So it's a very, very nice facility. It holds, I guess, around 300 seats. It's very intimate, and there's not a bad seat in the house. And I think it's about sold out. I'm not sure if it's completely sold out for tonight or tomorrow night. You would just have to call the Acadiana Center for the Arts in Lafayette, and or you can go online. They have a website, and you can get tickets there.
And the tickets are how much, Gary? Do you know?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know.
But people can go online, like you said, or just call and get the information.
Yes, absolutely. Yes.
Great. It seems to me...
It's going to be a fun night. We've got quite a few... actually, I brought some of Dad's rhinestone suits there. They'll be on display.
Wow.
Of course, there'll be some CDs for sale. Joel recorded a tribute album for Dad.
I remember that. That was a great album.
Yeah, that's really a good album. I was on the session, and we tried to capture the sound and feel of the early country music back in the early 50s and all that. And I think we were successful in doing that. We've gotten a lot of good reviews on it. We're nominated in the New Orleans Offbeat magazine as one of the categories has us nominated. So it's really a good CD. And Joel Savoy and we recorded it right there in Eunice, and Joel did just a fantastic job with it. Great musicians, great sound, great feel. So we'll have those CDs for sale at the venue tonight and tomorrow night.
And I'm sure a lot of people would like to know, Gary, how is your mom?
Mom is doing well. She's here in Lafayette, and she's excited. I think Marty's going to come in and visit with her later on this afternoon. Will
she be able to attend one of the shows?
Probably not. She's in an assisted living facility,
okay,
and doing well, though. Just that, she's up in age, so they're taking good care of her there. And,
good.
She gets visits from her nieces and nephews in the Ville Platte area, and she really enjoys whenever people come by to visit with her. So she's doing well, though.
Great, Gary. Just to let you know, we had an interesting phone call during our Coffee Cup show, our live call-in show, when we talked about the interview that you and I were going to have and about the show that you're planning tonight. We had this lady who's one of our regular callers, and she said, just to let you know, if you talk to Gary, tell him to say hello to Miss May, because I was there at the wedding. I was working in the courthouse, and I was one of the witnesses that signed the marriage license. So
You're kidding.
Yeah. So please let your mom know that.
I sure will. That's fantastic. That's great.
So share one or two memories that you have growing up in the Jimmy Newman household back in Nashville. Some fond memories you have, Gary.
Well, of course, when I was a kid at the Opry, we would go, and of course Rufus Thibodeau would be with Dad quite a bit, and I'm just a kid growing up and going backstage and seeing all these superstars, Johnny Cash, George Jones, all the big stars in country music, and it was just, even as a kid, you knew that these people were special. I can go further back. My fondest memories is actually being in Ville Platte when Dad was doing the Louisiana Hayride. We lived on Railroad Avenue by the cotton gin, and there was a cotton field across the street from the house, and every once in a while I'd go over there and pick cotton. And Dad would tell me stories about when he was little, he used to pick cotton. But anyway, we would have guests over to the house, and I remember Dad and George Jones were good close friends, and they came up at the same time. Their careers started at the same time, and I remember Mom, who is a great Cajun cook, was fixing chicken sauce piquant for us. And George was spending the night with us there, and I remember sitting at the table, and we were all getting ready to eat, and George reached over and grabbed the gizzard from from the chicken because he liked the gizzard, and he said, "Well, I hope no one likes the gizzard. I'm going to grab it." And I stood up and said, "Hey, I like the gizzard." So we always got a kick. Every time I saw George, we would always talk about that, about fighting over my mom's gizzard with her chicken sauce piquant.
Gary was
I remember driving from Ville Platte. We would go up to the Louisiana hayride.
Uh-huh.
I think my dad had like a 53 or 54 Buick at the time, and we would drive up. And again, it would be Mom and Dad and Rufus, and I would be in the back seat with Rufus. Well, coming back, Rufus and I would be sleeping in the back seat. He would be on the seat, and I would actually be those vehicles back then. They had that little area between the seat and the windshield where a small child could get up there and go to sleep up there, and that's what I did. There was no seat belts or anything back then.
Wow!
But I can remember listening to Baron Young and George Jones and Johnny Cash and all those people on the hayride, going up and coming back from the hayride. We'd make the trip up to Shreveport and come back down the same night. And I guess my fondest memory is when Elvis was still playing the hayride, and I got to shake his hand when I was about 4 or 5 years old. But I remember that, and I also remember his performances on stage, where I think one time he pulled his belt off of his pants and threw it out in the audience, and I remember everybody going really crazy over it. But I have had a blessed life, as well as our whole family has, and it started with Ville Platte, and those are my fondest memories of being a small child in Ville Platte.
Gary, was French spoken a lot in the Jimmy Newman household?
Yes, it was. Pretty much like everyone else my age, our parents spoke French, and at that time, everybody knows that it was frowned upon to teach the kids French. So I got to pick up a few words and everything. Of course, when I was 6 years old, we moved up to Nashville, and that kind of did it for me. But all my cousins speak French. But Mom and Dad, my grandmother spoke. That's all she spoke was French, and of course, my mom and dad's my dad's folk parents spoke French. That's all they spoke. They didn't speak English at all. So they were proud of their heritage. Dad was very, very proud of his Cajun heritage, and always promoted South Louisiana and our Cajun culture, and he was very, very proud to be a Cajun.
Gary, if I'm not mistaken, please correct me if I'm wrong, but I think he is the first artist, and he constantly promoted Cajun music at the Opry, and wherever he performed, he always threw in a few French songs, didn't he?
That's absolutely correct. Yeah, he sure did. Even when he was having the big country hits and touring around the world, he always promoted Cajun music. And of course, a lot of times he had Rufus with him, and Rufus was one of the greatest Cajun fiddle players that's ever lived.
Absolutely.
So he would feature Rufus, playing a Cajun tune, and always did Jolie Blonde or some other Cajun tunes that he enjoyed. And of course, his first song was that he recorded was Chef Petit with Chuck Gilry and the Rhythm Boys. So he always loved Cajun music and liked to sing it. And he had a great voice for it. The ballads especially. He really enjoyed doing those.
One final thing, and I'll let you go, Gary. His middle initial, C, did it stand for Cajun? That's what I was always told.
Well, that's really not his middle initial. His middle name is Eves. It's James Y. Newman.
Okay.
And I remember growing up, all of our friends and relatives would call him J.Y. He was known as J.Y. Newman. But the C came from T. Tommy Cottrell. I don't know if you know who T. Tommy is or was. But
very well announced. Was he the announcer at the Opry or at the Hayride?
The announcer at the Opry, and a very close friend of Dad. And when Dad moved up to Nashville, T. Tommy started calling him Jimmy C. For Cajun. So it just kind of stuck, So again, being proud of his heritage, he liked to be called Jimmy C. because it was Jimmy Cajun Newman.
Gary, do you have a personal favorite song out of all of the hundreds of songs that your dad has recorded through the years? Is there one personal favorite?
Yes, I really like Daydreaming. That's an early one of his early tunes. In fact, I'll be singing Daydreaming tonight and tomorrow night. I'm in the band, and they're going to let me sing one song.
Great.
But, I really did like Daydreaming. Of course, Cry, Cry, Darling's a great song. There's so many. Fallen Star was a really good song.
Mm-hmm.
That had, when he started working with Tom T. Hall and singing some of Tom's songs, DJ for a Day, Artificial Rose, those are also some great, great tunes.
I remember one other memory that you mentioned about Tom T. Hall. The very first Cajun Music Festival in Mamou was like in the mid-'70s.
Yep.
And they honored your dad. Did you come down for that? Tom T. Hall was there, too.
Bass. I played bass in the band. I think Gib Gilbo was here also. Tom came in. We had a great time, and that was such an honor for Dad because they had a parade for him, and it was really, really nice.
Great.
Get that.
Great memories. Again, Gary Newman, thank you for joining us. You have a lot of friends. Your family has a lot of friends, and people that love your family, and especially your dad and his music.
Oh.
And your dad's music will live forever. I promise you that.
The family is so proud to be from Ville Platte, and we just love everyone there. It is truly is. You go to your hometown and you have a special feeling. It's like no other feeling for another place. At least that's the way I feel. And whenever I go to Ville Platte, I just have like a peaceful feeling, like I'm at home. So we love Ville Platte, and all of you guys at KVPI. It's my whole life. It's always been KVPI. I've always known about it, and Dad has always loved all of you guys and loved the support that everyone had for him, and we've just been blessed that we're from this area. It's so unique, and
has anybody written a book on his life, a definitive book on his life?
I'm not aware of anything yet. I know there's some people talking about it, but I'm not aware of anything. It should be done, I think.
I sure hope it's done. I hope you guys can get it going, because his life story should be told. Absolutely.
Yeah. He had a very, he came from just west of Mamou, a little community called High Point.
Yes.
And very, very, very poor, and he did quite well for himself. He was blessed with a great voice, and he took advantage of that and began singing, and it's given him world notoriety.
A great American story. Gary Newman, thanks again for joining us, and we look forward to the big show tonight featuring your dad's music, and all the best to you, your mom, and your family. And the next time, Gary, you guys come to Ville Platte, be sure to come by and say hello.
We will, Mark. Thank you all so much for everything that you've done for my dad and our family. We greatly appreciate it. Thank you.
Our special guest again, Gary Newman, on the phone. Thanks again, Gary.
Take care.